Hello everyone and welcome to Photo Finds. I'm your host, Gavin Hatch. Late last week I spent a day at Universal Orlando and it was pretty chilly, at least for me. It was in the 40s and it was very, very windy, so I didn't spend too much time in the parks, but I did get some great photos, lots of cool new stuff to look at, and let's get started. Now coming up to the archways at Universal Studios Florida, you can see the Mardi Gras banner is up, as Mardi Gras just began this weekend with the Hunter Hayes concert, and then next weekend is going to be Diana Ross, and it just continues. There's a great lineup this year. A lot of people were excited about the lineup. They have some great performances going on in the park, and it is included with your park admission, which is really cool, as well as the big parade that they have at night. And in a future episode of Photo Finds, I'll bring you photos of that parade and all the cool stuff that goes on during the event. But the day I was there, it was not a Mardi Gras day itself. Now, once inside the park, I saw Betty Boop outside posing with guests for photos, and I was surprised. She must have been freezing because, again, it was pretty windy and it was really cold that day. Her outfit was not really modified for the cold weather, except just having a kind of like a different top on, but her legs were completely exposed. So I felt so bad for her, but she was great, and I bet she was ready to go back inside though. Now speaking of Betty Boop, let's take a look right across the street at the construction and progress of the Betty Boop store. Now it will not only be Betty Boop inside, this will also be a Hello Kitty retail experience as well. At the main entrance you can see they've added this week new kind of like a covering at the main entrance doors, so you can see there's wires inside there. It's not completely finished yet, so it's probably going to be lights inside of that, which is kind of nice because you can stay outside when it rains but have somewhere to kind of take shelter if you don't want to go inside the store. Now they've been working on this project for months, and most of the stuff has been taking place on the inside. That's where a lot of changes are happening, of course. The outside didn't really have a lot of stuff done to it until this week. Mainly it's just painting the building. The painting has been taking place on the Betty Boop side of the building. You can see that they've completely changed the color scheme. It used to be like a dark green, and now it's a light blue, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the final product though. I'm sure they'll probably add more colors to it and more texture to it, and maybe even change it altogether if they don't like it, but it has been repainted this week and it looks good. It's very eye-catching, but who knows if this is the final product of what the paint scheme will be for this side of the building. Now on the side of the building where the Hello Kitty store will be and where Lucy used to be located, you can see they've added this red paint strip here on the top of the building, and it's very different from what it used to be. It used to be like a dark blue or dark green, so it really stands out. It's very different than how it used to be, and I'm not sure again if this is permanent. They might just be testing things, testing different colors and see what works, what doesn't. So this might go away, but it may stay, and if it does, it looks pretty good. Across the street from the Hello Kitty and Betty Boop store is the Universal Studios store, and out front is where they have all the Mardi Gras merchandise being sold, and there's lots of different things to choose from. You have beads. The beads are $4 each, and they all are different types of designs and colors, and then they come, I think there's like 4 or 5 different strands that you get for that $4. Now personally, I wouldn't spend the $4 on beads, because when you go to the Mardi Gras event, if you're staying for the parade, you can walk out of there with so many beads around your neck. I mean, it's unlimited depending on where you're standing, and if you can get the good spots where people are throwing those beads, because you can grab a lot of them and it's no cost at all. Now those beads are just standard Mardi Gras beads. They're not going to be like the ones that they sell in the stores, but at least they're beads, and it's something you can take home with you at no additional cost. It's a lot of fun grabbing those. T-shirts and shot glasses are also available for purchase. Every year they change the design on those t-shirts and shot glasses. They also put the year on them, so if you want to collect those, you can start collecting those. A lot of people do. The big banner that's part of the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem building that faces City Walk has been replaced, because if you think about it, it faces the sun all day long, every day of the year, so I'm sure it gets faded pretty quickly, and they have to replace this every now and again, and it has been done recently, so it looks really good though. Down the street from Despicable Me Minion Mayhem, there is construction, a lot of construction going on over at the future site of the Race to New York starring Jimmy Fallon attraction that replaced Twister. Now you can see that the soundstage has been completely gutted and removed. You can actually see through it, and it's really unique and kind of creepy, but cool to look up and see just the skeleton of the building. and everything that was inside there has been completely removed, and it looks a lot smaller. I thought this building was huge, and I'm sure it is, but from here it looked pretty small, and I just really can't wait to see what they do with this space. Of course, we have a while to go before this attraction opens up in 2017. There has been no permanent date yet on when it's opening that year, but I cannot wait. I think it's going to be really fun, and I'm excited. Across the street from Jimmy Fallon is the French Quarter Courtyard, which is put up every year for the Mardi Gras events. Now, they only open up these booths which serve alcohol and different food that is straight from Louisiana. They only open these up during the event days, which is going to be Saturdays or Sundays. And the stage is also set up where they have small performances and bands, again, right from New Orleans. So it's really unique. It's a really cool area to check out during Mardi Gras. If you are a foodie like myself, you can get some really good food. I know some of you go to Mardi Gras at Universal every year and probably have a favorite food item or drink that you get from the courtyard. If you do, comment below and let me know what those are, because I would love to try them out, and of course tell you about them here on a future episode of Photo Finds. While we're on the subject of food, which is my favorite thing to talk about, the Universal Quick Service Dining Plan prices changed this week. They went up from $19.99 for adults, it went up to $21.99, and for children it went up by $1 to $13.99. Now, the Quick Service Dining Plan entitles you as a guest to get one quick service meal at any of the locations in both parks, and there's 2 locations in City Walk. It comes with a drink. Then you also, later on in the day, you can get a snack and then also another beverage. So you're getting 2 sodas, essentially, a full meal for lunch or dinner, doesn't matter when you use it, and then you also get a snack, which is saving you up to 30% on your food. And it's a good deal. It does save you money, because if you consider how much it costs to eat inside the park, just get a hamburger and french fries and a Coca-Cola, and how much a butterbeer costs now, those prices also went up this week around the park. So not every food item went up in price, but some items did go up. So it is going to save you money. And tell me what you think about the dining plan, if you used it before, or if you plan on using it in the future. Do you think it's something you'd want to do when you go to the resort? In the back of the park, the Disaster Studios building and Beetlejuice Theater are pretty much all gone. Beetlejuice is completely gone already, but Disaster Studios is almost completely flattened. You can see King's Cross Station now from inside the park when you're walking over by the lagoon. This whole area will be home to the Fast and Furious Supercharged attraction, which is opening up in 2017. No details have been released yet on exactly what type of ride system it will be. I personally thought that this was going to be reused. The building itself would not be torn down, but I was wrong, and I'm okay with that, because it's exciting that the ride is getting a whole new show building. So I wonder what it's going to look like from here and how big it's going to be, but we will see in 2017. For those of you that are big Beetlejuice fans, the water fountain that was out in front of the theater is still there as of right now. Construction walls have not been put up around this area. This courtyard is still here with the water fountain. And there is also this Graveyard Snacks kiosk still here. So Graveyard Snacks is still open every day, and I don't know when that will be taken away, but eventually it will disappear, so enjoy it while it's still there. While we're on the topic of Beetlejuice and Disaster closing, over in the Williams of Hollywood store a few weeks ago, I snapped this picture of one of the doors from the ride vehicle from Disaster that was being sold. I didn't see it in there this week, so it might have already been purchased. I'm sure it did. But there's also some other cool items in here, such as Dorothy from the Twister attraction. This was the Dorothy that was actually flown in the theater over guests' heads, pretty much, during the show, as well as the cow, the flying cow from Twister. Flew over guests' heads every day for almost, 20 years. So it is crazy that these are for sale now, and you can actually touch them. The cow feels really weird. It has, like, fur on it. It's creepy. But it is still for sale, and so is Dorothy. But the door from Disaster, I think, was already sold. Well, that will do it for Universal Studios. Let's head over to Islands of Adventure. Coming into Port of Entry, I noticed that there's construction walls up over where one of the food kiosks is located. This food kiosk specializes in turkey legs and beverages, and it's a really cool kiosk. It's got giant canoes usually full of ice, and the drinks just sit inside that, so it's kind of themed to the Port of Entry. But as of right now, it is sealed off and probably will return, just probably being repainted and refurbished. Now, something that caught my eye over at Confisco's is this new dining reservations kiosk desk that is next to the entrance of the restaurant. The kiosk used to be over by the Hulk roller coaster right before you went over the bridge into Marvel Superhero Island. That has been sealed off with a construction wall and completely removed. So they moved the dining reservations desk over here, constructed this, and it looks really cool. It's themed very well and it fits perfectly there, but it is where you can go to make reservations for the full-service dining restaurants inside of both parks and also at City Walk. And if you're looking to purchase the dining plan or activate your souvenir cups or purchase those souvenir cups, you can do it at this location as well. There's one in front of the photo store at Universal Studios Florida when you come in through the turnstiles, so each park has a dining reservations desk. Now back to the weather for that day. Because it was so windy, usually these stilt walkers are walking around Port of Entry, just hanging out with guests, taking photos, and having a lot of fun with them. But because of the high winds, they couldn't be on those stilts, obviously for safety reasons. So those performers were still out and about, but they were just on the ground and in those elaborate costumes and just having a lot of fun with guests. Next time you're in Islands of Adventure at the Port of Entry, go over to the Backwater Bar. Now, this is actually a really good bar. It's inside the Confisco's restaurant area, and outside you will see this Seagram's advertisement painted. It's really well themed and it fits in perfectly into the land, but it is a Seagram's advertisement painted on the wall. Now the reason why that's painted there is because Seagram's actually owned Universal for a short time, and during that time it was when Islands of Adventure opened up in 1999. So this has been there since 1999, and it's really interesting because when the park opened, Seagram's products were all around the resort and advertisements for their products were also everywhere you looked. So this is the last one I think that you can find in the resort. If you know of any other places where it's hidden, let me know, but I've heard this is it. This is the only place where there is still remnants of Seagram's ownership of Universal. Again, back in 1999, it was a short time that they owned the company, but they did have control when this park opened up, so they had that put there. I think that's such a cool little fun fact and a fun find and something to look at every time you come in to Islands of Adventure. As I was walking through Seuss Landing, I noticed that the Cat in the Hat and Thing 1 and Thing 2 were doing meet and greets with guests, but something that's new are these speakers that they put in the bushes over where they're doing the meet and greets. And the music that was playing from the speakers was the soundtrack to Seussical, which was a musical on Broadway that debuted in 2000 and closed in May of 2001. It had 198 performances and 34 previews. Over in the Discovery Center at Jurassic Park, the carpet has been removed. I noticed that this is now just vinyl flooring instead of carpet. As you can see, there has not been a whole lot of progress over at the Hulk, at least on the side where the lagoon is. Behind it, over where the Storm Force attraction is located, you can see that there has been track put in place. There is slowly but surely track being put in every day, and it looks the same. Not really any changes. No word yet on what the ride vehicles themselves will look like. I don't know if they'll be exactly the same or if they're going to change the ride vehicles, but it does look good though. Well, that does it for this edition of Photo Finds. I hope all of you have a great week. Make sure you subscribe to Orlando Attractions Magazine and check out Florida E-Ticket every Saturday. And we will see you next week. Until then, get out, have fun, and enjoy the parks.